your city and also community you work for, please indicate. We are now going to start officially. I will hand over to my colleague Fadila. So we're hoping to finish by 11:30. If earlier, that would be great. So we'll see how this goes. We'll just invite everyone just to engage and share basically experiences about the program so far, and also maybe any suggestions that you have with all the mentors that are on the call. So I'll just hand over to Fadila to welcome everyone and introduce the program of the day. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to have you here. I know that you all have very busy schedules, so we are going to try and make this not so long, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time today, for making the time to join us, and secondly, for your time and the commitment that you have towards the mentoring program. Without you, we would not be able to really make this program a success. So the mentoring program is part of our bursary program. So we offer bursaries to students, and later on I will explain to you, I'll give you the details of exactly how many bursaries we are giving. And we have honors and postgraduate diploma students that we give the bursaries to. And we really need that extra sort of leg to stand on, because we are only 5 people here at the HCI Foundation, and we really can't reach each and every student with the support that they might need throughout the year. So that is why we really support on you to be that extra sort of support and or crutch for students to lean on in their times of need. So what we're going to do today is just to talk about the program. I'm going to do an overview of the mentorship program. Then we're going to have a panel discussion. So it's just going to be a very informal conversation about how mentors have experienced the mentoring program. And then we're going to have mostly spend a good deal of time on questions and answers. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you are not clear on certain operations, then that will be the opportunity for you to ask. Or even if you have a comment, or even if you have some advice to give, then you can share it during that time. Jamala will also come in. I think it was before the panel discussion. He will also come in to give an overview of the HCI Foundation and the programs that we are involved in, because it's not only bursaries that we offer. There's various, and we work all over South Africa with various important initiatives as the foundation. And I think then that is it. If mentors want to share stories, then there will be an opportunity for that. And then we conclude. So in my thanks for joining, I wish you welcome as well. Thank you. So we're going to do the PowerPoint presentation now. And we're going to share the screen. Okay, so when at the end of last year, we requested students to just give us feedback on how they experienced the mentorship program. And so we had 4 basic questions that we asked them. The first one was whether they felt that they were a good match with the mentor. So out of the 53 respondents, 40 indicated, I can even say 49 that it was because fair, good, and excellent would all be positive responses for us. So there was the great majority of students that indicated that they had a good match, good, fair match, excellent match with the mentors. We also asked them about how they felt about the relationship. And again, the majority of students indicated that it was meaningful or somewhat meaningful. And there were only 4 students who indicated that it was not meaningful. And it's when we analyzed it, it was basically the same 4 in the previous slide who indicated that it wasn't a good fit. We also asked them whether the mentor was committed and engaged. And again, the majority of students indicated that it was a good relationship. The mentor was committed and engaged. And then when we asked whether the mentee, so they had to reflect on their commitment to the program, it was also a good majority that said that they were committed. And also here, the same 5 who indicated that the mentor was not committed, they also indicated for themselves that they were not committed. This is just the word cloud of the responses. They indicated that they felt good about it. It was great work, and they really appreciated the fact that mentors took time to engage with them and to assist them through the honours program and honours year. So in terms of the mentors' responses, the majority of mentors indicated that the responses were good, that the experiences were good. One mentor reported that it had been such a great fit that the mentee was offered a job. A couple said that the program starts off well and then it fizzles out. There were complaints about students who do not respond to messages or emails, and students who do not adhere to the times agreed on for meetings or for chats and so on. It was indicated that there were problems with scheduling mutually convenient time slots for both the students and the mentor. Both have very busy schedules, so that is understandable. And the request was that students should be the ones who initiate contact. And I agree with that, because the students gain more from this relationship. So they must really initiate contact. There was also a request for more in-person engagements initiated by the foundation, and also request for mentors to be allowed to choose mentees. So we'll see how we can adhere to some of these requests and just to make the whole program and the experience more meaningful for both mentor and mentee. Now, what are the challenges that we have from the HCI Foundation side? If you look at the table, that's just a snapshot of how many applications we got and how many we have awarded. So this is a long process for us also to review bursaries and to do interviews and then to finally award the bursaries. So we've awarded 154 bursaries. That was in January. And then we, of the 154, thus far, 38 of the students have declined. Now, that is a problem that we have. We don't offer a full cost bursary. We have a partial bursary, and it only covers 75% of our tuition, of the tuition fees. So students apply for more than one bursary. And if they get a full cost bursary, especially a bursary that covers accommodation as well, then they decline our bursaries. So if we at this stage have already paired those students with a mentor, then it does create a problem. What do? Do we ask the mentor to just continue with the student, or do we then replace that mentor? The problem comes in when certain bursaries, such as NRF, only award bursaries in August, September, late in the year. Then students only find out that they've been awarded an NRF bursary, for example. And then at that stage, mentors have already established a relationship with the mentees, and it's very difficult to remove them or to separate them at that stage. The other challenge that we have is that the matching is proving to be a problem, in that most of the mentors are in the finance field or in the engineering field, and those students actually get full cost bursaries elsewhere, and they opt for those. So it's very, very difficult to match. So what I am going to do during the course of this week, I'm going to bother you, I'm going to phone you to ask for and give you an options for other students in different fields, and whether you would feel comfortable with that. And please, you are free to say you are not comfortable. We don't want this to be sort of a forced issue. If you know that you're not going to be really effective in mentoring the student, because it's not in your field of expertise. So what are we going to do that's different this year? The first bullet we've already applied. Students have applied to become mentees. So we have had 73 students who've applied for the mentorship program. What we also want to do is to have in-person engagements and activities with mentees and mentors. So we'll try to arrange get-togethers in the different provinces when we do our project visits, and it would probably be at a central place like a university, so that we will then correspond and communicate with the individual mentors who are allocated in those provinces. We also are going to extend invitations to our alumni engagement events for mentors. And you can bring your mentee along to those events. And then we also would like regular feedback from mentors. So we will probably every third month just send a very, very quick survey, which you will just have to answer yes or no to. So because we know you're busy and we don't really want to bother you with long surveys or forms that you have to fill in. So it will just be a quick email which you can respond to. It will take you about a minute to do. So we would like you to really look out for those emails and respond to us to give us feedback, because that will also help us improve the program going forward. So these are the events that we are planning for students for this year, in case you are interested and it's in your area, but a lot of these events will be online. So the onboarding of students have been done already on the 27th of February. We are currently busy with the mentors workshop. And then on the 21st and the 27th of June, we will have professional circles. A professional circle is a workshop, basically, where we invite experts in certain fields, for instance, in the finance field. And then there would be quite a number of people who will present on what exactly they do, what their job entails, so that learners or students are aware of what is awaiting them in the job market or in the workplace. And we plan to have these in June, and then alumni events will be in July and in October in Gauteng and Western Cape, respectively. And the student exit workshop is also just an online workshop where we normally prepare them for the world of work, and then we have experts talking about how they brand themselves, how they have to have their CVs sorted out, and so on and so forth. I shall share this PowerPoint presentation with everybody on the call, and even those who have indicated that they're not able to make it, so that you do have these dates ready for your own planning purposes. Okay, the screen just froze for a while. So what would be the role of mentors? Basically, you have a student with you that you need to support for the year of study. You need to guide them, to listen to them, to support them and encourage them, and to just be a sort of sounding board for them, but also a person that can lead them on the correct path for their future career. We would like at least once a month contact with the mentee, and this can be in the form of a WhatsApp call, it can be in the form of a video call, it can be in the form of WhatsApp chats, telephone call, emails, doesn't really matter. First prize is obviously face-to-face. And then when you engage with, we do have a sort of a guideline, but again, the guideline is there just if you're really struggling, but most of the time, the first conversation would already guide what the next area would be that you would focus on with your mentee. We also would like you to escalate any matters of concern to us as soon as possible. And then we would ask you to complete those surveys that I talked about, those quick surveys, just to give us feedback on how the program is going for you, and if you are encountering any problems that we can sort out as soon as possible. Now, these are just suggestions, but these are the topics that would guide you in what you need to do for the months ahead. In April, you're basically getting to know the person is getting to know you, and you're setting goals. For May, you're going to check in on how they're doing with regards to the academics, with regard to the emotional well-being, and also whether they are achieving the goals that they are setting out. And then if they are doing, because this is very important, if they are doing a research project, then you need to find out whether they have started with it, have they found the questionnaire, or how they're going to go about it. In June, it's about whatever the need is, but also interpersonal skills and how they're coping with university life, academics, and the social life. July, career development. August, leadership. September, building networks. In October, basically preparing for the professional environment. And in November, the students will be mostly concentrating on the exams, but then it could also be time for reflections and to think about the following year and what their plans are and which actions they need to put in place in order to secure employment for the following year or a place of study for the following year. So when do you need to contact us? We love comments from the mentors. We love to hear from you, and especially if there are success stories. If you know if a mentee has shared with you that they've done well somewhere, or they get great results, or they have received an award, please share that with us. We're looking for stories to share on our social media platforms. So if there's any reason to celebrate, please share it with us so that we can celebrate with you and the mentee. If you have a non-responsive mentee, they're not responding to your emails or your calls, let us know. We will then try from our side to figure out a way forward. If you find that it is not a good match, well, that happens also. Let us know so that we can change and find another mentor for you. If the student is not coping academically, emotionally, financially, then please let us know about it, because we have other organizations that are partnering with us that we can refer the students to. I don't know about the academics, so we can't physically help them with the different courses, but we can maybe refer them to somebody that will help them with time management and so on and so forth. And then really, if you feel that if there's any issue that we should be aware of, obviously keeping in mind that there is a level of confidentiality between the mentor and mentee. But if you feel that there's something that we should be aware of where we can maybe intervene, then please let us know. I've put my contact details on there. So please, during office hours, I have my cell number also. So I'm available after office hours as well for emergencies. Now, just something about student relief. So we have a limited budget to assist students in need of finances for food, transport, or textbook. So the way it happens is that students are sometimes referred to us by mentors, or they just ask randomly, they just send a letter and tell us that they're struggling, or during the surveys that we give them, we pick up that there's a need. And then we'll reach out to the student and ask them to write a motivational letter, just explaining what their circumstances are. And then the committee will then review each applicant, and if they are successful, they will receive a monthly stipend of 1,000 Rand. Now, we know that that is not much, but it should cover basic food items for the student. Now, and this we will do on a month-to-month basis. So if, for instance, they are successful in getting the grant in April, then by the end of April, we will need an acceptance letter from them signed that they have received the money, and these are all for auditing purposes. They need to give us an expenditure report explaining what they've spent the money on, and they need to submit the receipts to prove that they have spent it on the items that they indicate in the expenditure report. And once we have all of those documents, then they don't need to apply every month. It's just once they have the documents in play, we have all of the documents, then we will release the payment for the following month. But I want to ask you not to tell students about it, because then our budget will not be able to be sustainable for everyone that asks. We really need to look at the need. And when you do come across the fact that your mentee is really, really in need, then let us know and let us know, and then we'll make contact with the student. And we hope that that will also just ease a little bit of the stress that the students encounter in their studies. So at this stage, if there are any questions on my presentation, then you may ask them now.
Okay, thank you very much, Fadi, for that presentation. I think a lot of information was offered. This is the time then where maybe mentors, you can ask questions, or maybe based on what happened last year, maybe we need clarity on something. This is the time to ask that question. I believe that also on the call, there are new mentors.
Yes.
People that will be mentoring for the first time. So maybe if you have a question, maybe around about how would you know, or when would you know whether you are paired with who, and maybe one clarity on things you can do with your mentor, you can ask, but also maybe those will also come up in the panel conversation that we're going to have later. Are there any questions or comments? You can raise your hand. Okay, cool. For now, we do not see any questions or comments. Now, what we're going to do then, we're going to give to Jamala to provide more context about the foundation. What else do we do as HSI Foundation besides the mentorship program? Jamala, if you are here, please feel free to join in. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Manusi and Fadila. Yeah, I think we'll receive, I'm sure we'll receive question. I can see already something is in the chat room here, Fadila. Maybe you'll note it and we'll be able to respond here. You know, I think for many of the people who are here, you know the foundation, a lot of you have been mentors into the program for some time. Some are new, perhaps my discussion, or maybe just a few, really a brief overview of the foundation that I will give it to those who are new or who do not know the foundation that much. Yeah. So, you know, when we talk about the foundation, I think we think about HCI, the Hoskin Consolidated Investment. And as you know, many of you, the foundation is a foundation that is linked to the group. We do corporate social investment for the group, but at the same time as well, we are independent. Independent in the sense that we've got our own board. Some of those board members come from our subsidiary companies. So we'll have people from different companies, from Golden Arrow to Tsogosan. So really like, and some of the board members of HCI, they sit on our board. But in terms of our finances, we've got our own asset base. So we don't depend on the HCI for finance. We've got our own asset base, and that helps us actually to finance our own programs and everything that we do. I would say, of course, there is a lot of benefit of being part of the group. I mean, we always try to keep our office expenditure as low as possible so that our funds can go toward program expenses. And to make that happen, we benefit a lot from HCI. You know, perhaps we'll get a discounted in rent here and there. We'll get support as well from HCI in terms of how to invest our money and support services, quite a lot of support services that we get from HCI for free. So that's really the great benefit of being part of HCI group. And beyond that, I mean, when you think about how this mentoring program we ended up creating this mentoring program, it again through the HCI. So here we've got Stephen, who will speak later on, I think, as part of our panel. But he's really like one of the people who pioneered this mentoring program kind of 10 years, more than 10 years ago, with one of our subsidiary company, the NEB company. And we started with mentors from the company to pilot it, and actually it evolved to be a wonderful program. And here where it is today, it's because of the group. So being part of the group really gives us a lot of benefit. In terms of program, what do we do? So we've got a focus area, we call it I, it's really like three major focus area. We've got education at all levels. So we'll support education initiatives from early childhood development level up to university level. So from early childhood development level, primary school, high school, up to university, and even post-university level, we still find people who want to become teacher and so on. So, and we'll find really big and small initiative in those spaces. Then we've got another aspect of our work that we support a lot is youth and skill development. And here we're looking at initiatives that will help young people to become employable quickly. We fund such initiatives, and also initiatives that try to promote leadership and personal development, you know, that are value-based. I mean, we know the challenge that the country is facing from, you know, corruption and a lot of other issues. And we always want to say, well, how do we develop a leadership within our young people that they can be ethical? I mean, they are the leaders of tomorrow. How do we help them really to become employable and at the same time be ethical in everything that they do and be the ambassadors for value-based leadership within their own communities? Then the third element or major focus area of our work is the environment. And when you talk about environment, it's as well supporting initiatives that promote the protection of our environment. And we look at it at a broader level. So from environmental educations at primary school level to initiatives that really just promote better well-being within the community. For example, in the environmental space, we support access to clean water in rural areas. I think you won't believe it, but I mean, although the country has done a lot of, we've really done a lot of major strive in eradicating, you know, many issues in the country, access to electricity, access to maybe roads. But when you go to rural area, access to clean water is still a major challenge, really major challenge. You still find people competing with water, with animal actually to access water. So we're doing a lot of those projects in rural areas, and we're hoping maybe we'll expand in many other parts of the country. And one other aspect that really came to be through the COVID, remember the COVID, during COVID, we did a huge COVID relief initiative with e-media. So now we have expanded it to do what you call sustainable food security within communities. So we're helping communities produce their own food. So those are the major three focus area where we are, and all those focus areas have got other, you know, maybe sub-element into it. Maybe just one element that I would love just to raise, which I think perhaps we don't talk a lot about, is that we support as well refugee and migrant within our initiatives, whether in bursaries that we give to students. You'll find a small portion of refugees and migrants within that group. And when you meet your mentee, you might have a mentee who's non-South African or who's a refugee. So it's because of that, because we value a lot human rights, and we want everyone to really be included when we talk about economic and social development within the country. So that gives you a picture about the foundation. And I'm sure you'll wish to know more about the foundation. We don't have a lot of time, but if you want to read more, you can go to our website. Our social media is very active. Our LinkedIn is very active. So please go out there and read more about what we do. And we'll always be happy as well to engage with you if you've got any question or you want to find out more about the foundation. So that's it from me. Thank you, Malusi and Fadila. Malusi?
Yes, thank you very much for that, Jamala. So there are some questions that popped in the chat room that we appreciate so much. Would be happy to hear more from others. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat room. And even if you have comments, please feel free to drop them in the chat room. One of the challenges that we faced last year, we observed that actually students take time to reach out to say, I have a challenge, I am struggling. So it's another thing that we are trying to work through to get students to be upfront about challenges that they face. I think generally people struggle to acknowledge that they are struggling and reach out for help, but we hope that we'll be able to work around that. Another thing that Fatila was mentioning is that in terms of support, we also work with the Counselling Hub. They are based in Cape Town. They offer telephonic counseling services. So our students have access to that for free. So if maybe a student approach you and say, hey, I'm struggling with maybe mental issues, if he or she is willing to get help, then they can reach out to the Counselling Hub and indicate that they are from HCI, and then will get the counseling sessions for free. Now we're just going to extend our conversation and hear more from mentors that have been mentors, but also we want to hear more from those who will be starting the journey. If on screen I can please have Stephen. Stephen, I saw you earlier on. Yeah, it's good to see you. Also, if I can have Ayanda. Ayanda, if you can also open your video, if you can join us on screen, Ayanda. Thank you very much, Ayanda. We see you. We see you. And then also, if I can also have Malusi Zondi. Malusi, if you can also join us on screen. Okay, cool. While we wait for the other Malusi to join us on screen, there he is. Yeah, good to see you, Malusi. Yes. So now we're just going to have a quick conversation free. We'll see how it goes. There is no recipe for conversations, but what we are hoping to get from this conversation is like mentors sharing their own experiences and also maybe sharing suggestions and maybe talking about why they do, why do you want to be a mentor? Why have you been mentoring? So I think we'll just start with introductions. Maybe we can start since Stephen, you're on top. Maybe if you can please introduce yourself and also maybe which company are you from? For how long have you been part of the program? Maybe also where are your mentees, if you know where they are. And then also go to Ayanda and also Malusi. Malusi, I believe that this will be the first time. If you can share, why did you volunteer to become a mentor? Where are you currently? Were you a HI Foundation student? Where are you? What are you up to? And also Ayanda, also hear from you. But we'll start with Stephen, and then Malusi, and then Ayanda. Thank you.
Hi, Lucy. So I'm Stephen Rubich. I look after industrial relations and HR for the Deneb group of companies. The Deneb group of companies, the majority shareholder is HCI. We have 18 different divisions or companies within the group. We are involved in property, in branded products, in distribution and manufacturing. We employ roughly 2,500 employees in the group, and the bulk of the employees are employed in the manufacturing divisions. I've been involved with mentoring and with the HCI Foundation. When I first started, Jamala joined HCI Foundation thereafter. And he joined looking after the HCI Foundation bursary program. He has skittled through the ranks within HCI Foundation and now is the CEO, which he has done for a good period of time. In terms of the mentorship program, it's been developed and evolved over time, and I think that it is a great program. Fadila said that I would be asked why I joined the program, and I wasn't allowed to say that I was forced to do it. The short answer is I was not forced to do it. I think it is a fantastic program, and I think that there was certainly a need for students to have a coach and a mentor. When doing the quantum leap from going from school to university or to a tertiary education institution is a massive, massive leap. And it is very important that one has some kind of mentorship in that. Since the funding has changed and that HCI Foundation are now more involved with not undergraduates, but postgraduates, that whole situation has changed a little. But I think that there is also a quantum leap from being an undergraduate to being a postgraduate, because obviously your method of study is not the same kind of semester tests that you have and exams, etc. And most of it is based on research. So I think that mentorship is a fantastic program, and I think that it has a very big place and role to play in students' lives. So that's just my background in terms of where I am and where we've been with the program.
Thank you very much. We'll come back again. Malusi, can you just tell us a little bit about you? How did you come to join the program? Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone, can you hear me? Yes, okay, cool. So I'm Malusi. I was an HCI bursary student in 2021. So I was doing my honors in finance and investment banking at UKZN. So that's when I sort of became a part of the foundation. And then since then I was mentored by Miss Samantha Croft from Elangeni and Southern Sun, which very amazing lady, has such an amazing time. Actually, it was so sad when we had to part ways, but we still communicate. But yeah, so since then, I've been employed by Retailability as financial planner here in prison. And that's my second year now. And I've been growing professionally and as an individual as well. So when like the opportunity came to sort of put myself up to say I can be and volunteer to be a mentor for the foundation, I was like, yeah, why not? Because you know what, I feel like it's not really my first time being a mentor. Because so when I was in UKZN, so because I grew up in a village, and so when I moved to like Durban, to the Durban side, I had these students back, in my village that, obviously they didn't really have someone that they could look up to in a way. So I was like, you know what, I'm this person that they used to say in my face. So why not, every now and then gather around, share information with them, about university, what goes on there, what they need to apply, how they need to apply, which universities they can apply to, like all the, just different issues that, impact one's life as, a student that is intending to go into university, and how they can basically overcome those, issues. So that's sort of like where my passion for, I'd say, mentoring started. So even though it wasn't in like a formal setting at that time, it was just gathering around. But then I realized later on that, hey, this could be, turned into something, more meaningful. So that's why I was like, oh, let me put my hand up, and say I can give someone, that extra hand, that extra help, because it always helps to like just have someone to have a conversation with. That's how I felt when, I was being mentored by Miss Samantha. Is that there was someone who was always, available. You can chat to, you can contact and say, hey, you know what, I've got this issue, and they sort of like give you, some advice and guidance in terms of how you can just navigate, your academics, your personal life, because it's not just about your academics, it's about your whole life as a whole, and how you're growing as a person, how you're growing as a professional. So I've really, tried to be the best version of myself for my mentee that I'm going to get, so that I can offer them, everything that they need and everything that I can provide that, obviously is going to be helpful and useful to them. So yeah, that's sort of where I am at the moment.
No, thank you very much, Gama. Can you tell us more about where you are working and what is your role there? I didn't get it. Relatability. I know that maybe they went over the EdCon group. Maybe can you tell us a bit more about that? Can you go
yes. So okay, so Retailability is they did buy Edgar's, the Edgar's chain from Edcon. So currently they're basically the managing company of Edgar's, legit Beaver Canoe. So they're more into retail. So that for me, going into that space, because I did finance and I didn't really see myself going into that type of industry. But at the back of my head, because I was someone who was always so like numbers focused, but at the same time had a passion for helping people, I thought if I get myself involved in an organization that not only works with numbers, but also in a sense services people, because essentially fashion is about people. So that's how I found myself in that space. So I work as a financial planner. Basically, what I do is I decide how much a store gets in terms of the budget that they have, in terms of the stock value that they get to have in the store. So it's really an exciting and dynamic industry, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that sounds exciting, Malu. Thank you very much for that. Ayanda, over to you, bro. Can you just tell us a bit about you? How did you end up where you are actually? I think we know you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, guys? Oh, okay. So I'm Ayanda. I was also an HCI Foundation bursary receiver. So how I started is I started being mentored by Stuart Queen. He's from DNAB Investments. So he mentored me throughout my diploma and BTech. Then after that, I started working, like now I'm currently working at Carol Boys. I'm a stock controller there. Here now where I'm currently working, I'm a stock controller, basically handling the stock, all stock queries, stock value, discrepancies, stock counts. I handle everything related to stock for Carol Boys. And for me, and I have lovely news. One of my mentors is graduating. Offense is graduating, so which is a good thing. So for me, I wanted to come back to do the mentorship program because I saw how it helped me and the gain that I received from getting the mentorship and the motivation and having that person to be like, hey, get back on track. So I wanted to do the same thing, give the same experience that I received as well for the next person. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Aya, and also congratulations to Offense. Yeah, we're looking forward to maybe engaging with you. It's not him. I hope you noted that, bro. Yeah, so now let's move the conversation forward a bit. At least we know why actually we are all participating in the program. So we won't go back there again to ask why, because it seems like you all have a history with the foundation somehow, and also it has been very meaningful. Maybe let's talk about how has it been for you as a mentor? How has been your experience mentoring someone? Maybe what was exciting about it, or maybe what was challenging about it. And I know, Malusi, that you said that you've been doing it even like informally with young people from your community in the villages. So how has it been? How has been the experience? So anyone can pop up. If no one pops up, I'll just say Stephen or Ayanda. Just let's reflect on the experience.
Okay, I'll speak first. For me, the experience, because this year is going to be my third time. So for me, the experience, it's two ways. The first student that I got, it was a great experience. We're still in communication even now because they were willing to take the advice that I was giving, and I saw the advice that I was giving was being implemented. So it motivated me as well to carry on, to push, because now they were also having a willing spirit. But then now the second year, which was last year, then I got a completely different experience now, whereby you get a student that you have to follow up on, you have to check on. Then it's like now, it looks like now you are begging or imposing on their personal time and all of that. Then you're like, then let me just let them be, because now you don't want to seem like too much to them. So for me, it's a bit of both.
No, thank you for sharing that. At the end, then last year, did you end up dropping the student, or how did it end? What was the ending?
The student dropped me because they just stopped responding. They just stopped responding.
Yeah.
And I saw I was blocked. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And it seems like that might have been not only you who experienced that, and also actually it's true that what you say about willingness it's easy sometimes when you work with someone who's willing, you know. Let's hear from Stephen and Malu. How has been your experiences? Please reflect.
Yeah, I think that as Aunda has had 3 years and he's had 2 years of varied experience, I think that I've had a number of years and it has been varied experience. I think it's a two-way street, and one also has to look at the timing of students. The problem is you get involved with your own work and your work suddenly becomes important to you, and you don't set times for it. So I think that from a learning experience, it's a great experience, and I think that I have learned probably more from my mentees than they've learned from me. I think it's important. I think that one learns a lot about the difficulties that other people have, and that is absolutely critical to have and have an understanding with it. I think it's been a very worthwhile experience. My current mentee has done exceptionally well. He is, in fact, the last year served as the chairperson for the international students in KwaZulu-Natal. They've done various projects, been involved with various aspects. He has had the Dean's Award for his academics. He did his postgraduate or conversion to a BTech from a diploma, so into a degree last year, and now he is doing his honors at the moment. He also, with that international students, they have been on excursions and, for example, went on a 2-day excursion to understand the Zulu culture, etc., etc. So it's been a very worthwhile experience being a mentor with a student like that. He is a driver and he will achieve going forward. He sometimes looks at life through rose-tinted glasses and thinks that everything in life can be perfect, and which is great, because if you don't believe, you can never achieve. So I think that it is a very worthwhile experience. And I think that it is a two-way street, and what one needs to do is you need to set aside time on a regular basis, that you have a Teams meeting, and these days with Teams or with Zoom, it works exceptionally well. But I think to have a face-to-face meeting with a person, and sometimes transport is a problem for your mentees to get to a place. So sometimes it's easier to go and meet at a coffee shop somewhere and have a cup of coffee and have a discussion, or a walk on the beachfront or something of that nature. So there are aspects, and one just needs to actually make the time. And within our group, we have got some mentors that have really dedicated their time to their mentees and have done an exceptional job with that. And we've also had some successes where mentees have joined our group thereafter, and in full-time capacity or in part-time capacities. So that has been very worthwhile. And Aunda, your mentor, Stuart Queen, is my boss. So I will pass on to him how you have progressed. I'm not sure if you're still in contact with Stuart. He lives in the UK and he is our group CEO.
Okay, that's good, Stephen. Thank you very much for sharing. Just a follow-up question, Stephen, on you. Around, I think your current mentee is Christopher, right?
Yeah, Christopher Wiseman. I'm not sure. He's a bit confused as to what his name is, but he prefers to be called Wiseman. Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, just a follow-up question in terms of the age. Maybe what do you think maybe made this relationship work with Christopher? I'm looking at you in terms of age, and then he's the age gap. And also maybe what makes it work before
I might look a bit old, and I asked the IT people to put some hair on my head, but they couldn't do that. Sorry, I also apologize for joining the meeting late. My computer was with the IT people since yesterday, and I had a problem connecting. So in terms of it, I think that if one's young at heart, I don't think that age makes a difference. I think what makes a difference is the commitment from both parties. And it is very, very important. You know, students, it's the best time of your life when you're a student. And so meeting with your mentor is not always your greatest thing to have to do. So it means you've got to make it exciting for the person, or that it's worthwhile for them. And I think that, you know, as a mentor, you don't have all the answers. I think that being a good listener is perhaps one of the better aspects with being a mentor, and just listening and providing a little bit of guidance with issues.
Certainly. I think one of the guides that Fadila shared says that also as a mentor, then you have to be the listening ear, you know. And also that's what also Malusi was saying, and Ayana, that having someone that who can listen to you, it's also helpful for the journey that you undertake as an individual. Malu, do you want to add on what Stephen and Ayana have said?
Yes, quite a bit on what Steven said. So it's mostly a two-way street. Honestly, you have to treat it as a learning experience for you as well. So you can't always go in with, you know, the mentality that you're going to be teaching someone. Go in thinking you're going to learn, you know, what are you going to take away from this person as well? Because it's going to grow you as a person to be relatable and, you know, just have compassion to people's different, you know, situations that they face in life. And in that, you as a person are now relatable to different situations that you did not experience. So it's teaching you things that you did not know. So that, you know, ability to not only teach from your own experiences, but learn from other people's experiences as well. You know, it's never about age, like Steven said, you know, you can be 50 and learn from a 25-year-old. So it's really never about age, it's about what you can take away from it. I think that's what mostly for me it was about. It was, what am I going to get out of this experience? Yes, I've got my own experiences that I can share with other people, but what value can they bring to me? So that's like how I saw it.
That's great. Maybe on that note, Malu, maybe can you just share with us, what is your understanding of what is a mentor? I like what you see, what you ended off with, like going into the relationship with an open heart, also to learn and receive. Can you maybe reflect on what is your understanding of being a mentor? What is a mentor?
Okay, so for me, the mentor word, or how I look at it, is having that person that you can go to and say, I've got 1, 2, and 3 happening in my life. Can you give me some advice? Can you give me some guidance? Having been through such situations, what was your response? What were your actions to certain issues coming up in your life? And that person is then able to guide you to say, you know what, maybe I haven't experienced 1, 2, and 3, but from what other people have shared with me as well, this is what I would advise you to say. But obviously still keeping in mind that we should allow people to sometimes make mistakes so that they can learn from them, because you can't always protect people. Because I think the misconception that people sometimes have is when you have a mentor, they're going to guide you in such a way that you are never going to be, you know, out of line at some point, whereas it is actually going to happen. And what their job in your life to do is to say, you've overstepped the line here, or maybe you've gone out of way here. This is not the way to go about things and things. Then you should, you know, try and keep you contained in, you know, I think, because also they don't know everything. That's another thing. That mentees, the mentality that mentees come into the mentorship program with is, you know, you think your mentor knows everything. They don't. They're human as well. So they've got their own, you know, faults and mistakes, and they are also just trying to navigate the world as you as well. So that for me is what a mentor is. It's someone who just guides you, you know, in whatever situation that you're going through. It could be academics, could be personal, could be financial. They are just guiding you and giving you, you know, possible solutions that would help you to solve the problems or issues that you're facing.
No, thank you very much. Also, colleagues, other mentors in the chat room, maybe you can also share your own understanding of what a mentor is and reflect on your own personal experiences. We are about to wrap up this conversation. Stephen and Ayanda, maybe if you can share with us maybe what challenges might mentors face in the journey of mentoring, and maybe sometimes how one can resolve those challenges. because it is not only good, but also that the challenge that people might face along the way. Can you maybe just share from that angle? Thank you.
I think one of the biggest challenges is the finances for your mentees. I think that they all struggle with finances, and one has to be very careful that you do not get into a trap that you offer finance as a mentor. That's not part of what it is. You can try and offer guidance and assistance to your mentee, but that's one of the biggest challenges. And I think that the other real issue is just to make a regular time to make contact with your mentee, and that you have that it's the first Thursday of the month or whatever it is, and you set a time and you do that regularly, and you keep in touch with them. And these days with WhatsApp, it's so easy to send a WhatsApp, and one can do that at any stage and just send a WhatsApp and say, how's it going, and etc. So I think keeping that constant communication is very, very important. And Malusi, if you think 50 is old, then we don't necessarily think that. We're still young at heart.
I'm 16.
Yes, Stephen, young at heart. I apologize.
You don't have to
noted,
apologize. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, that is noted. Thank you. Yeah. Aya, what is your response to that? What other challenges that one might come across, and maybe how to resolve them, and maybe how to spice up also the relationship with your mentee? Yeah.
Another thing is that mentors might have a challenge with is when you get a student, you get students that are dealing with a lot of issues. So now you have to be, as a mentor, you have to be mindful how you handle that student, how you deal with that student because of what they're going through as well. You see, so I think that as well, we have to be mindful with our mentees when we work with them. Yeah.
No, certainly. Thank you for that. Maybe what kind of issues, if you want to reflect on that maybe students sometimes deal with, and that might be maybe a barrier in terms of that mentoring relationship. Do you want to reflect on that a bit, maybe?
For my student from last day, it's the fact that when she was doing semester courses, so now when she didn't pass one of the courses, now she enters another semester, now she has to carry that. So now for them, because I remember when we had a conversation, I was like, look at it as at least you still have another 6 months to work on that subject that you didn't pass. But for them, they're looking at it now, I'm carrying semester one's work. I'm like, no, don't look at it that way. It gives you that next 6 months, it gives you an opportunity to work on the mistakes. But now it's not, you're working on improving on what you did wrong on the first time, on the first try. Yeah.
Certainly. No, thank you very much, Aya. Now I'll just invite you, Stephen, Ayanda, and Malu, just to provide your closing remarks. Maybe if you have any mentoring tools that you use, maybe you can share those tips with us, and maybe how to keep it exciting, and whether does it help to have a structure in place for your mentoring journey. Just maybe share tips, closing remarks with us, and then we'll invite colleagues on the call to also ask questions and make comments.
I think just in closing, if I go first, in terms of that, I think that Fadila's guidelines are important to follow, and I think that that's one aspect. I think that as a mentor, you don't have all the answers, and I think that is very important to know. You will never have all the answers and all the solutions. You can just provide guidance and support. And I think it's a very, very worthwhile program. And I think that it is a mutually beneficial and enriching program. And people should be encouraged as much as possible to join the mentorship program and to help the youth of today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Malu, do you want to go?
Yes, I mean, I'd say go into it really with an open heart, you know, and learn as much as you can from it, and really be a silver lining in that person's like life. I think, you know, just help them, like Ayanda was saying, you know, bad things happen, you know, negative things happen, and I think as a mentor, your role is to try and see that and let them know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, really just be that person who provides a silver lining in their life and really tries to bring some light into their academic year.
Okay. Thank you very much, Malu. Aya, your closing remarks. Do you have any tools that you use in your mentoring journey?
For me, they've used what I was going to say, but I'll add with saying, don't overpromise stuff you won't be able to fulfill. As a mentor, try to make sure that what you promise you're able to fulfill. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one, and we totally agree with you. Expectations can also hinder the relationship if now you can't deliver. So thank you very much, Stephen, Malu, and also Ayanda for being part of this conversation. And also now, please stay on just in case there are questions from colleagues or maybe comments. Does anyone, Trevor or Zama or anyone, Charles, you have any questions or comments? Maybe you have the similar experiences, maybe you have concerns, or maybe you want to add anything. Anyone who wants to jump into the conversation? Okay, Trevor, over
Hi,
to you.
Malusi. Thank you for inviting me again this year. It's my 5th year being a mentor. Just you know, for all the new mentors, is just to be committed and invested in the process, and at least celebrate some of the successes every semester with your mentee, and that's a big help to them. We as mentors need to build rapport and trust, and be a sounding board. We're not necessarily expert in the subject matter, but our life experiences help them to see things through. And we should be there as a support for them. And I have to agree with Stephen there. At least one face-to-face visit with your mentee. At least they can see we're human beings and not just an AI on the other side of a computer. And it actually helps them that there are people out there that is looking after them and looking after their success. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you very much, Trevor. 5th year, now you're number 5. Mamuso and then Zama.
Thanks, Malusi and the panelist. I wanted to ask Ayanda, so sad of the experience you had with your second mentee who sort of bailed and disappeared. I'm just keen in terms of maybe lessons and how to deal with such, maybe not even to yourself, to the maybe HCI team. If a mentee just decides to block you and never seem interested in the program, how do we so proactively maybe deal with that to prevent it if possible, or if it's happened, how do we attend to it?
Okay, in cases like that, like for me, I kept on trying. Then when I saw that, okay, there's no more, I've exhausted all my resources, then I informed the bursary that, okay, I'm not able to get a hold of my mentee, so I don't know what's happening, if they are still on the program or what's happening. So now the bursary then had to follow up on their side.
Thank you very much. And I think, Mamuso, what is very much important for everyone is to communicate with the foundation immediately if you experience such challenges. Sometimes the match is not a great fit. Sometimes the student is not responsive. But what is important is to just inform the foundation and then we'll follow up. We don't want mentors to find themselves in a situation where they are seen as stalkers by mentees, because also kind of make yourself available and your resources to help. But yeah, a similar answer is inform the foundation and we'll take it from there, and then we can see maybe if we cannot repay you with another student who's willing. But another thing that we have done this year, we have actually invited students to apply for the program. So now students had to indicate why they want to participate, if they see any value in it. So we hope that can actually impact in terms of the interaction. So I hope that Mamuso helps, and thanks Aya for that response. Zama?
Yes, thanks, Madusi. Mine is, oh, the camera just scared me there. The face I saw in front of me. It just, I'm not sure how you're going to assign mentors to mentees, and but just a bit of a challenge that I did experience last year with mine. They are studying in the university that I'm also in, but they were studying online. So they were not in town. I think they were in Joburg and I'm in the Eastern Cape. So I'm sure that would help. I mean, I was listening to Steve also talking about like just sitting in coffee shops or taking a walk down the beach, which is, I feel, is most ideal. And, you know, it's personal. It's you can relate more and get more connected or better connected to your mentee in that way. So I would suggest, if possible, I'm sure sometimes it's not always possible, but where possible, an ideal situation would be having someone that is in the same town as one is in. So thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Zama. Definitely, that will be the first option to make sure that you have someone in the same province. And so thank you very much. And maybe also what we can do, Fadi, sorry to commit you, once we pay, we can also share the motivational letter that the mentee wrote with the mentor, just maybe to have more context about the mentee that will be having. Yeah. I guess if there are no further questions, Jamal, I don't know whether you had a question or comment. I saw you popping up earlier on. Yeah.
I know, I think I will conclude, Malusi. Perhaps you can just take question. If there isn't any, then when I conclude, I can raise my remark. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I guess there are no more questions. I see Nizam. Nizam, do you have any comment? I see also there's Nizam Manuels on the call. If you have any comment or question, otherwise we'll continue with the program. I also saw that Kate is also on the call. If Kate, you have any maybe comment from your experience, because Kate with colleagues at UCT, they mentor PGCE students who are doing teaching course. I don't know, maybe if Kate, you have any reflection to share from that end. But Stephen, Ayanda, and Gama, Malusi, thank you very much for your contribution. We really appreciate the time that you spent. And also we hope also as a foundation, we'll interact with you more this year and see what more can we do with mentors and mentees. So thank you, Stephen. And also I see there's a question from Trevor. Yeah, okay, so there's a question for Fadila that she's going to respond to. So for now, if there are no questions or comments, or maybe ideas, actually maybe Stephen, Ayanda, Malu, do you have any ideas for the foundation? How can we spice up the program? How can we make it more exciting? And maybe how do we pick up issues early than later? How do we keep it vibrant? You know, of course, one part of the feedback was that it starts very well in the beginning, and then as in the middle of the year, and then it fails it down. Do you maybe have any suggestions or ideas for the foundation?
Lucy, I don't think I've necessarily got anything. I think that one's just got to keep it regular. I think that that's probably the easiest way to do it, and just set the time and be disciplined with it. And the mentor needs to take the lead with that, you know, and that's important. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Malu, Aya, do you have any suggestions or ideas for the foundation? But you know, just a reflection from my side, one of the things I always find helpful about having a mentor is that a mentor sometimes does also open other doors for you as a mentee, you know. like it takes you to places that you have never thought that you would be in, you know, that the mentor also becomes like what they call like a sponsor, you know, someone who speaks on your behalf when you are not there, and also sometimes becomes a coach at the same time. So that's why as a foundation, we find this program very much useful and helpful and important. That's why we keep on going back to it and invest, improve it. But if Aya and Malu, you have no ideas or suggestions or comment, then we are good. Do you have anything to add before I hand over to Jamala to close? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I will now hand over to Jamala to close the session. Otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. This was an interesting conversation that we will keep closely to our hearts and also will follow up, of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Malusi. Thanks, Fadila. Yeah, I think just to conclude, is just maybe perhaps to reiterate few elements that people spoke about here. I think firstly, it's really time commitment. We know it takes time to be a mentor, whether we're talking about WhatsApp call or just asking or just making, you know, going for a coffee shop or even going to a coffee shop or even working at the beach, it takes time. And I have to say it's an investment you are making into our young people. So often we ask ourselves, what can we do for the country? But I think this is really one of the best way of investing in our young people. You've got experience, you've got, you know, a lot that you can offer. Being a sounding board to these young people is really critical. And you won't know, I think sometimes you feel like, what did I contribute? But we receive responses, we receive feedback from students, we receive feedback from mentees. We usually go back and say, if it wasn't for my mentor, I wouldn't have been here. I think suddenly just knowing that I've got somebody to be accountable to, somebody just to check on me is very critical. So really making that time, just know that you are investing in our country, you are investing in our young people is quite critical. Yes, when it doesn't work, so what do you do? I think give it to Fadila as a challenge. If it doesn't work, what do we do? I think really reach out to us and don't wait until it's too late. Remember, the students who have been selected to be mentees, there are a few privileged and lucky ones. I mean, if you've got 73 students who have applied, we don't have 73 mentors. And so basically, if you've been selected, you are really lucky. And we don't want to waste that opportunity. If the student wants to use it effectively, better you communicate with us and we can maybe try to see if we can pair you with a suitable candidate. Somebody will take it seriously and value your time and your contribution to their lives. The other thing that I would love just to say, I think we take this just not as a meeting and talk, but I think as well, just if you pick up something, I mean, if you see this young person is good at this, I think just giving us that feedback is critical as well. You know, you'll spend more time with the students than what as a foundation will do. We talk to them, of course, over the phone, we do workshops, but for you to have that close one-on-one relationship. So if you pick up somebody who's really good at accounting, somebody who's really a good teacher, even just alerting us to say, you know, this young person is really fantastic in this space. And if there is any opportunity, please let us know. If you've got that kind of recommendation, it helps now to go to Stephen and say, Stephen, if the Navy is looking for somebody with this kind of quality, we've got that candidate. So please help us really to be kind of identify talent and skill that your mentee has got and alert us. And if there are areas that you feel like the mentee as well is struggling, of course, there is that confidentiality, but if you feel like, you know, perhaps if you can offer more of this, I mean, you can tell us, for example, I don't know, career guidance is needed. Just please talk to us, help us improve this program. If we're currently talking about student relief, that concept came from an engagement like this. Mentors say that, you know, a lot of their mentees are struggling just to address their basic need, whether it's transport or maybe food. And that helps us actually to say, you know what, we have to put at least a budget of 1,000 rand per student so that we can help cover those small needs. So really your feedback is quite critical. It's important to make this program work. And we hope to hear from you. We want to learn from you and we want it to be rewarding. We don't want you to be frustrated and next year you won't come back. So please, if you feel like things are not working, talk to us as soon as possible so that we make it worthwhile for you and actually help us to improve the bursary program as a whole. So thank you very much, Stephen, for really making time to talk to engage with our mentors, and Ayanda, Malusi, we really appreciate your time. And Ayanda and Malusi, I think being a mentee and now being a mentor. I mean, really for us, that's amazing. And that shows really the value of this program. So thank you very much. And Malusi on the foundation side and Fadila, thank you for running the program. Tinetemba is in the background, is our tech guy. So thank you very much. And for everyone who has attended, all our mentors, all the new one and continuing one, and those who have become really the doyen of this program. Stephen has been there forever. So thank you very much for all of you. And we hope it will be a rewarding year, and we'll continue to talk again. We'll stay in touch. Thank you and have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, cheers.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.